So, former Governor Asa Hutchinson is running for president. 2 weeks ago, we told you how he made a fool of himself on the Fox News channel. He was essentially outed by the host, Lawrence Jones, as not being a modern day America First Republican, being like an old school Republican. And that was very complicated. It was really embarrassing. Well, since then, and Asa also loves to go on CNN. We've documented this many times. But since then, more developments have happened. One of the things that happened was a liberal, woke New York jury in a civil trial, not a criminal trial, decided to find President Donald Trump liable for sexual assault, but not rape. And now I guess he can be sued for this. And Asa Hutchinson, this lady's name who made these charges from years and years ago, Asa Hutchinson is backing E. Jean Carroll. Now, many of you don't watch CNN unless it was that town hall where Donald Trump triggered leftists all over the place a couple of weeks ago or a week ago. But so you probably missed it when Asa Hutchinson went on CNN, Aaron Burnett, and decided to pile on and back the legitimacy of E. Jean Carroll. Now, if you know anything about this woman, you can go look at her social media, and the word sane does not come to mind when listening to E. Jean Carroll or reading the things that she's written. Okay. Asa Hutchinson backing her, trying to pile on President Trump. Listen.
Much appreciate your time. So we're sitting here today. We knew we were going to be talking earlier, and then history was made in the middle of today. Never before has a former president of the United States been found liable for sexual abuse, right? This has never happened before.
Sexual abuse.
Here we are tonight. It has happened. What's your reaction to it?
That it's a significant event. I've practiced law for many years. I've been in the courtroom, and I give respect to what juries find. And by and large, they get it right. And here you have a unanimous verdict that found credibility in the witness and the story that was given, and they gave a very strong verdict in a quick amount of time that is significant. And I don't think it should be dismissed. People will try to dismiss it because maybe it happened a long time ago, or because they just believe it was an attack on him, that he's a victim of this somehow. But by and large, I think this is going to have credibility, and it should have credibility. This is not something you defend. This is significant in our justice system, and that's why I made the statement today that Republicans should not be dismissing this and saying this is not of any significance.
That is the former governor of Arkansas, Asa Hutchinson, making Republicans and conservatives in this state proud. Yeah, no, not so much, right? Not so much. Asa Hutchinson has a long history of accepting the phony, false presuppositions of the left, specifically their lies from the fake news media. He never challenges those, for the most part, and accepts them as fact, just like he's doing now. And, it's pathetic, actually. It is pathetic. Now, he is a piece on the board. He's a pawn on the board of corporate America, globalism, China. We've gone over that ad nauseum. And, yeah, he's trying to win, and he's going to point out the differences between him and Donald Trump. But this is ridiculous. This is just another long line of the political persecution of a guy who obviously was trying to shake up the system to such a degree that everyone, in positions of power that stood to lose money, had a complete meltdown over, and as well as a lot of other things like foreign policy and that sort of thing. And that goes in with the money. But let's just real quick. I have to show you this because we have to actually dive into. Now I'm forced to dive into exactly who it is that former Governor Asa Hutchinson is backing. Again, backing E. Jean Carroll and her claims against President Donald Trump. Politics makes strange bedfellows. Here's a story from a website, nationalfile.com. In 2016, E. Jean Carroll, one second, let me get this graphic out of here. In 2016, E. Jean Carroll article on how to sue for sexual harassment is strikingly similar to her false Trump allegations. Before E. Jean Carroll sued President Trump on phony sex allegations or accusations, she was instructing other women on how to do the same thing. E. Jean Carroll wrote an article in 2016 titled, Ask E. Jean, Should I Sue My Fraudulent Boss and Ex for Sexual Harassment? And Carroll's article reads similar to her lawsuit against President Trump, which she filed in 2022, almost 6 years after she wrote the article. A New York jury recently ruled that Trump did not rape Carroll, as her lawsuit claims. So that's the truth. So if that's what's so maddening about this. What's so maddening about this is if Asa Hutchinson were to be honest, he would have realized that there were accusations in her lawsuit that the jury didn't buy. One of those was rape. Okay? Carroll's unfounded lawsuit claims that in the 1990s, she and Trump ended up in a dressing room at the Bergdorf Goodman department store in Manhattan, and the unfounded lawsuit claims that the door was shut and Trump forcibly kissed her and pulled down her tights and raped her. The similarities between Carroll's article and her lawsuit are striking. A passage from Carroll's Ask E. Jean, Should I Sue My Fraudulent Boss and Ex for Sexual Harassment? Reads, quote, Worse, he's insinuating himself upon me, grabbing areas of my body and when no one is looking and inviting me to posh hotels for sex. Things like that. I'm thinking of suing him for sexual harassment, or should I threaten to expose him to partners and suppliers? So E. Jean Carroll's other writings read like a bad Carrie Bradshaw article from Sex and the City with titles like, Ask E. Jean, Should I Keep the Dream or the Dream Guy? Ask E. Jean, I'm suddenly no longer attracted to my fiancé. And so then we have this story, again, up at National File. E. Jean Carroll's social media posts show she has a Trump sex obsession. Now, again, this is the woman that Asa Hutchinson is backing to try to score, desperate to score, any political relevancy at all in the Republican primary. E.g., and by the way, donors are people like Asa Hutchinson and others are quietly, according to reports, anybody that's running in the Republican primary other than Trump, I should say. Okay, they're telling donors, just wait. He's going to be indicted more. They're going to put him in jail. Just wait. That's what they're telling donors. They're literally rooting for the political persecution of a guy. And I tell you what, if Donald Trump survives all of this and actually secures the Republican Party nomination for president, this country is going to, the stakes of this election are going to be higher than they have ever been. And I know you hear that, but I can just tell you, and look, I'm guilty of it. I'm guilty of saying this is the most important election. Look, I'm guilty of that, okay? But I'm just letting you know it's going to be one of the most historic elections ever because you're going to have a guy running for president. And if he wins, he will pardon himself. But if he loses, he's going to jail. I want you to think about that for a second. If he wins, everything's fine. But if he loses, he's going to jail. Think about that. Whether it's a county prosecutor in New York, whether it's a county prosecutor in Georgia, or whether it's the U.S. Justice Department just going to completely embrace the weaponization that was just exposed in the Durham report and go ahead and double down and, indict a president over, documents or whatever they want to make up at this point, right? The stakes, the political stakes, the real, the blood cost is going to be extremely high if that actually happens. Anyway, Asa Hutchinson backing this woman. E. Jean Carroll is obsessed with President Trump and sex, her social media profiles reveal. Uncovered Facebook posts from E. Jean Carroll show a Trump and sex obsession. Carroll and Trump's civil trial is ongoing in New York City. National File recently reported that the anti-Trump billionaire and DeSantis supporter Reid Hoffman is funding a large portion of Carroll's sexual assault lawsuit. That's just food for thought. In 2012, a Facebook post, Carroll fantasized about having sex with Trump, writing, quote, "Would you have sex with Donald Trump for $17,000 even if you could A, give the money to charity, B, close your eyes, and he's not allowed to speak?" Now that is odd. That is an odd statement to make. Asa Hutchinson believes her because he respects the jury in New York. Really? A New York jury? If you ever needed any more proof that Asa Hutchinson was never one of us, this is your proof. In another post, Carroll sexually fantasized about Obama, Putin, and Maxine Waters, writing, and I'm not going to say this. You can read it on their screen. I'm just going to call it BDE. BDE. Obama's got it. Putin's got it. Maxine Waters has got it. Who's on your BDE list? Carroll also fantasized, now it gets weirder, she fantasized about having sexual relations with Ryan Seacrest, Dick Cheney, and Steve Jobs. Okay, so anyway, this is, you just get to a point where you're like, I don't even believe how is this even real? Like, how is this the news anymore? It's just ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous.